Japanese stretches that solve 90% of your problems after 50. Japan is the only country in the world where aging well is still considered the standard, not the exception. While in the West, after 50 years old, chronic pain, joint stiffness, and medication dependence emerge, the Japanese remain active, independent, and functional decades beyond that. It's not a coincidence. A study published in The Lancet in 2022 revealed that Japan leads the global ranking of years lived with full health, with an average of 74.1 years of healthy life versus 66.1 for Americans. Science already knows the reason. Modern sedentary lifestyle slowly contracts and shortens the body, creating a cascade of pain, falls, and loss of independence that no one needs to accept. The Japanese learned centuries ago how to reverse this process with movements accessible at any age. That's why today you'll learn about 6 stretches used by the Japanese that solve 90% of the most common problems after 50. Before we start, please leave your name and the city where you're watching our content in the comments. We'd love to know. Stretch number 1. Standing forward fold. Called by the Japanese the end-of-day reset, this movement occupies a special place in Japan's wellness culture. It's practiced at dusk as a collective ritual for releasing tensions accumulated throughout the day, both physical and emotional. Think of it as pressing the reset button on your human operating system after hours of accumulating tension in front of a screen or carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. And this button, curiously, is located in the back of your legs and your spine. The benefits of this stretch are multiple and occur simultaneously. It decompresses the entire spine at once, stretches the hamstring muscles, relieves tension accumulated in the neck, and by placing the head below heart level promotes venous return and gently activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's recovery and deep relaxation state. To execute correctly, stand with feet parallel at hip width, slowly bend your torso forward while exhaling, and let your arms and head hang with complete passivity, without any active tension in the shoulders or neck. Keep your knees slightly bent if you feel excessive tension in the hamstrings. The Japanese key to this movement is complete surrender to your own body weight. It's not about effort, it's about conscious surrender. The main errors to avoid are trying to push your hands toward the floor with active muscle force, locking your knees in full extension without adequate preparation, and tensing your neck, trying to look forward during the position. All of this transforms a deep release movement into a new source of unnecessary tension. Hold the position for 60 to 90 seconds, breathing deeply, and repeat 2 to 3 times throughout the day. It's contraindicated for people with glaucoma, severe uncontrolled high blood pressure, or herniated discs in acute phase, as partial inversion and pressure on the spine can aggravate these conditions. Stretch number 2. Cobra pose. The Cobra pose is one of the pillars of the Japanese preventive health system, and its presence goes far beyond gyms and studios. It's widely prescribed by occupational doctors in major corporations in Tokyo and Osaka, where workers spend an average of 10 hours daily sitting in front of computers. What these companies realized, and science confirmed, is that each hour of sitting position promotes progressive shortening of the body's anterior chain, especially in the lumbar region and hip. This accumulated shortening is one of the main roots of back pain that affects more than 80% of the world's population at some point in life. And the Cobra pose is exactly the antidote to this process. It acts directly on lumbar spine extension, counterbalancing the anterior shortening caused by prolonged sedentary lifestyle. At the same time, it strengthens the spinal erector muscles, lower trapezius, and deep core stabilizers. A study conducted by the University of Tokyo found that employees who performed this stretch twice daily for just 30 seconds reported a 47% reduction in lower back pain complaints in 3 weeks, with simultaneous improvement in productivity perception. It's worth thinking, if 30 seconds twice a day already produce this result, what can consistent practice do for your body over months? To execute correctly, lie face down with hands positioned close to your shoulders. Gently press the floor and lift your torso in a controlled manner, keeping your hips in full contact with the ground, shoulders away from your ears, and glutes completely relaxed throughout the execution. The torso elevation should occur gradually, only as far as comfortable, respecting individual limits at each moment. Progression should be slow and consistent over weeks. The main errors to avoid are trying to lift your body to the maximum from the first sessions, forcing the lumbar abruptly, contracting the glutes during execution, which alters the movement mechanics, and tensing the neck by projecting the chin forward. Hold the position for 20 to 30 seconds and repeat 3 to 4 times, resting between sets. It's contraindicated for people with lumbar spinal stenosis, recent vertebral fractures, pregnant women from the second trimester onward, and individuals with herniated discs in acute phase. Stretch number 3. Downward facing dog. In Japanese culture, the downward facing dog is seen as a total body integration exercise, capable of stretching and strengthening simultaneously in a single position. This is exactly the type of efficiency that the Japanese mentality deeply values, doing more with less without wasting time or energy. It's no coincidence that it features as one of the first movements taught in community classes for seniors in Okinawa, a region that has one of the world's highest concentrations of healthy centenarians. If there's a place on the planet where exercises are chosen with real longevity criteria, it's there. The beauty of this movement lies in its ability to work the entire posterior chain of the body at the same time. Calves, hamstrings, glutes, and paraspinal muscles are deeply stretched, while shoulders, triceps, core, and scapular stabilizers are actively engaged to sustain the posture. It's simultaneously a stretch and a functional strength exercise, making it exceptionally valuable for people over 50 who seek real efficiency in their daily movements. To execute correctly, start from the 4-point position, firmly push the floor with your hands, lift your hips and extend your legs, forming an inverted V with your body, pressing your heels toward the floor without forcing them to touch it. The head remains naturally aligned between the arms, without neck tension, with gaze directed toward the navel or knees. The Japanese transform this position into an almost meditative moment, emphasizing deep and continuous breathing throughout the entire duration of the posture. You'll know you're doing it right when you feel simultaneous stretching in the back of your legs and a decompression sensation along your entire spine. The main errors to avoid are excessively arching the lumbar during execution, distributing weight unevenly and overloading the wrists, raising shoulders toward the ears, creating unnecessary neck tension, and excessively bending the knees, eliminating the posterior chain work. Hold the position for 30 to 60 seconds and repeat 3 to 5 times. It's contraindicated for people with carpal tunnel syndrome in acute phase, shoulder injuries in inflammatory state, severe uncontrolled high blood pressure, or retinal detachment. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notification bells. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress healthily long-term in the world of exercise. Stretch number 4. Child's pose. In Zen temples and longevity clinics scattered throughout Japan, child's pose is described not just as a stretch, but as an active recovery practice, as important as any vigorous exercise. Japanese culture understands that conscious rest is not the opposite of progress. It's an inseparable part of lasting health. While the West still treats rest as a sign of weakness or wasted time, the Japanese understood centuries ago that recovering well is a condition for exerting well. And this posture represents this principle with almost philosophical precision. The benefits are broad and occur in layers. It relieves tension throughout the posterior chain, from the lumbar to the neck, gently opens the hip and knee joints, and promotes deep, diaphragmatic breathing. This breathing pattern activates the parasympathetic nervous system and reduces cortisol levels measurably. To execute, kneel with your toes pointing backward, sit on your heels, lean your torso forward, and rest your forehead on the floor with arms extended forward or relaxed beside your body. If your heels don't reach your glutes due to knee mobility limitations, a rolled towel between the calf and thigh solves the problem immediately and allows correct movement execution. The main errors to avoid are maintaining tension in shoulders and neck during the position, breathing superficially and shortly losing the main benefit of the movement, and forcing the hip downward before the body is warmed up and receptive. The goal here is complete surrender. Before we continue, if you're over 50, take a look at this statistic. According to the WHO, between 28 and 35% of people over 65 suffer at least one fall each year. More than 70% of these falls happen inside the home, and today falls are the leading cause of loss of independence among older adults worldwide. Many people blame it on bad luck, but in reality it comes down to a lack of strength, balance, mobility, and physical preparedness. That's why our team created biological armor, a complete protocol for people in their 50s, 60s, or 70s who want to make sure they never go through that. Inside the protocol, you'll get a special home exercise program designed to build functional strength, real balance, and reverse years of poor posture and physical neglect without damaging your joints. You'll also learn the habits scientists have identified as common among the populations with the highest life expectancy in the world, habits that less than 1% of the Western population actually practices. Access it now by clicking the pinned link in the first comment of this video, or by pointing your phone's camera at the code appearing on the screen. Stretch number 5. Supine spinal twist. Known in Japanese integrative medicine as the internal detox for the spine, the supine spinal twist is widely recommended by physical therapists and traditional Oriental medicine practitioners as part of morning body reactivation routines. What makes this movement particularly intelligent is that you can perform it while still lying in bed, even before putting your first foot on the floor. Many elderly Japanese do exactly this. Upon waking, before getting up, they perform the spinal twist as a spine awakening ritual. It's hard to argue there's no time for this when the exercise literally happens before you get out of bed. The vertebral rotation movement stimulates synovial fluid circulation between vertebrae, decompresses intervertebral discs, mobilizes articular facets, and promotes gentle massage of abdominal organs. This last benefit is especially valued in traditional Japanese medicine, which views digestive health as central to longevity and overall body balance. The directly worked muscles are the deep spinal rotators, piriformis, quadratus lumborum, abdominal obliques, and the iliotibial band, a structure frequently neglected in conventional stretching routines and responsible for knee and hip pain in most people over 50. To execute correctly, lie on your back, gently bring one bent knee toward the opposite side of your body, extend your arms in a cross, and keep both shoulders firmly in contact with the floor. Your gaze can follow the side opposite to the knee to gently amplify cervical twist. Breathing should be slow and deep, allowing the natural weight of the knee to deepen the twist with each exhalation, without any additional force from hands pressing the knee downward. The main errors to avoid are forcing the knee to touch the floor before the body is ready for it, losing contact of the opposite shoulder with the ground during execution, and performing the twist abruptly without respiratory rhythm. Stretch number 6. Cat and cow. In Kyoto longevity clinics and geriatric programs throughout Japan, cat and cow is often prescribed as the first exercise of the day, even before any other physical activity. Japanese doctors have a revealing saying, "A person's age can be measured by their spine's flexibility." Not by arm strength, not by leg speed, but by the spine's ability to move with fluidity and range. And this exercise is the most accessible and effective tool available to maintain this flexibility throughout adult life, regardless of the age you begin. The alternating movement between the two positions improves facet joint lubrication, stimulates synovial fluid circulation, strengthens deep spinal stabilizing muscles, and enhances proprioception, significantly reducing fall risk in older age. To execute, start from 4-point support with shoulders positioned directly over wrists and hips aligned over knees. In cat position, exhale arching your spine upward, letting your head and tailbone fall gently toward the floor. In cow position, inhale lowering your abdomen toward the floor while your head and tailbone rise simultaneously. The secret is conducting the movement like a wave that travels the spine from tailbone to neck, involving each vertebral segment progressively and consciously. The main errors to avoid are performing the movement mechanically and hurriedly, restricting range only to the lumbar region without mobilizing the thoracic and cervical sections, and compensating with the neck in an isolated and exaggerated manner. And speaking of exercises that complete what the Japanese practice to keep the body functional, we've selected 2 bonus stretches that work frequently forgotten regions and make all the difference in health after 50. Bonus stretch number 1. Kneeling hip flexor stretch. The psoas is called by Japanese therapists the soul muscle, and this definition isn't empty poetry. It's the only muscle in the human body that directly connects the spine to the legs, passing through the pelvis interior, and has an absolutely unique characteristic among all muscles. It contracts in response not only to physical effort, but also to emotional stress, fear, and chronic anxiety. When you spend hours sitting, this muscle progressively shortens. When you spend weeks or months under intense emotional pressure, it shortens even more, And when this shortening becomes chronic and accumulated over years, the result appears as persistent lower back pain, forward projected posture, intervertebral discompression, and fatigue that doesn't respond to conventional rest. Many people carry decades of accumulated tension in the psoas without ever having heard this muscle's name. In Japanese integrative medicine, stretching the psoas is seen as a healing act that transcends the physical, and many clinics in Kyoto and Osaka incorporate this movement in treatment protocols for chronic lower back pain, forward projected posture, and persistent fatigue. The directly worked muscles are the iliopsoas, rectus femoris, adductors, and secondarily, plantar flexors. Structures that frequently shorten together, creating a chain postural pattern that affects the entire body mechanics from bottom to top. To execute correctly, kneel with one knee on the floor and the opposite foot forward, forming a 90-degree angle. Keep your torso completely upright and push your hip gently and controllably forward and downward, without leaning your torso forward during the movement. This detail of keeping the torso straight is absolutely determining for exercise effectiveness. When the torso leans, the stretching angle changes and the deep psoas is practically no longer reached. The Japanese combine this stretch with slow and conscious abdominal breathing, treating it as a micro-meditation in movement. The main errors to avoid are leaning the torso forward, losing psoas isolation, advancing excessively with the front leg knee beyond the ankle, and performing the movement hastily without allowing tension to gradually dissipate with each breath. Many practitioners report, besides immediate physical relief, a genuine sensation of emotional lightness after releasing this muscle. Bonus stretch number 2. Calf stretch against the wall. An integral part of Ragyo Taiso, the national Japanese gymnastics program created in 1928 and practiced to this day in companies, schools, and public parks throughout the country. The calf stretch against the wall carries decades of collective wisdom about circulatory disease prevention and functional mobility maintenance. The calf is called by the Japanese the body's second heart, and it's not a vague metaphor. It's a real and measurable physiological function. Calf muscle contractions are responsible for actively pumping venous blood back to the heart against gravity's force, and keeping this musculature functional, stretched, and active is an act of cardiovascular prevention as relevant as diet quality. Additionally, for people over 50, progressive calf stiffness has a direct and silent effect on body balance and fall risk. When the ankle loses range of motion due to gastrocnemius and soleus shortening, the body's center of gravity shifts and stability on irregular terrain decreases considerably, making falls more likely and more severe. This stretch directly works the gastrocnemius, soleus, plantar fascia, and fibular tendons, simultaneously improving ankle range of motion and, consequently, safety and balance in daily movements. To execute correctly, stand facing a wall about one arm's distance away. Position one foot forward and the other stretched back. Keep both heels firmly on the floor and lean your body forward, supporting your hands on the wall with the back leg completely extended. The stretching sensation should be clear and comfortable in the posterior part of the back leg, concentrated mainly in the calf belly. The main errors to avoid are bending the back leg knee, which eliminates almost all effect on the gastrocnemius, and lifting the heel off the floor during execution, losing the muscle isolation that is the movement's central objective. In Japanese hospitals, this stretch is part of the standard rehabilitation protocol for patients with compromised peripheral circulation. If you want to also check out the best isometric exercises to strengthen your legs at home without damaging your joints, we have a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one of them better. Check it out there, and don't forget to also check our biological shield protocol. Thank you for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.